So you're probably thinking, if you're an investor, if you're a collector, or just in general like to look at the hobby and maybe collect some things, what are the guaranteed ways to find a rise in price? Are you able to kind of suss out cards that before they've even blew up? Now, there is some signs that you can do this. It's not always guaranteed, and we'll kind of show you examples throughout all of this. But in general, normally the kind of basic rules when it comes to this is truly the card itself, the illustrator, the Pokemon itself, and then generically, waiting time. In terms of sets of Pokemon, it kind of doesn't matter how long you wait for some of them. Some of them can blow up straight away, and some of them could most definitely blow up and then come back down. So for instance, if we was to take a full advantage of this, if I was to look in Surge and Sparks, now this was kind of like the hype set. This was absolutely number one on the checklist. Everybody was going for it because they wanted that Surgeon Sparks Pikachu. Now, I personally have this one, and if you do look at it right now, if you were looking at specific Pokemon, you think Pikachu is a grail. He is the Pokemon. Whenever anybody thinks of Pokemon, it's Pikachu. It's Pikachu, it's Charizard if you're looking from animes. It's then obviously your starters, your Bulbasaur, your Venusaur, and then you go further on to your obvious Inteleon, you're looking at Incineroar. Whenever starters get involved, everybody has a soft spot for one of them. So Pikachu is the golden child of Pokemon. He is the absolute nothing can do wrong. You love to see it. And as you can see, we started off incredibly high with him. Now, to say this is this is just the opposite way of thinking, like he went up. He went absolutely to the moon. If you sold him at 450, 500, which I probably should have done, you'd have been absolutely laughing. Now he's down at 280, 290. Now, obviously right now, what I would suggest is if you have him, if you've purchased him at this point, if you've purchased him kind of here, or here, then obviously you hold on to him. Realistically, Pikachu is always a staple of any sort of collection. If you obviously have loads of people that will collect a Pikachu in general. Now, the big thing is, when you look at Pokemon, anybody can have a favourite. Yanmega can be a favourite. Mimikyu can be a favourite. Roggenrola can be a favourite. Yes, you will get your standards, like a lot of people will like a Gengar, they'll like a Charizard, they'll obviously like the legendaries, Lugia, Ho-Oh, Latios. There's going to be so many. Now, Pikachu is head and shoulders kind of up there. Now, obviously, if you are looking at Pikachus in general, you kind of see the Holo Phantoms. It's kind of like a staple of Pikachu, but granted, we still have got the ponchos that are just not even within question, but you have got a lot of Japanese secret rares, secret promos that are not in English. The same for some Chinese as well. There's going to be loads of different ways. And the best thing is when it comes to a certain collection, if you are collecting Pikachus, if you are collecting sealed Pikachu collection, there's so many different avenues you can go for. And I do think whenever you look at something like this, it's almost a guaranteed increase in price. You look at any sort of collection of Pikachu, naturally you will find the price normally rises. Now, I'm not saying it's going to go to the moon. It's not like you buy that Surge and Sparks Pikachu at 250, 260, and you know in 4 years' time he's going to be worth 10 grand. Like, no, of course not. But you can normally tell that they will go up a certain amount. There's normally a profit at the end of it. And as you can see with this one specifically, it's a great card. I really like it. It's got the Jolteon and obviously the Electabuzz as well, but Pikachu is front and center from XY. It is a promo, but you can kind of see just going a little bit back. It's only a year, so it's not that much data to be honest, but you can kind of see it dropping up at 34 now. Obviously, I don't know what this card was like prior. It's a little bit older than your standards, but you can see that the profit is there if you bought him within that last year. You've seen that price increase. So going for a specific Pokemon is always a fan favorite. Another one, like I say, is going to be Charizard. If I can even spell it. You obviously know Charizard as one of the most decorated Pokemon to ever grace the TCG and the game itself. You've got some absolutely stunning artworks. The Shining Charizard, if you are looking more of a vintage. Obviously, we are talking about the vintage Charizard, the Delta species, the Charizard EX from Fireleaf and Fireleaf. Fire Red and Leaf Green. Then obviously you've got Expedition, you've got Blaine's Charizard, you go to Skyrit. There's just so many. Not even going on the Megas, the Rainbows. There's a lot of solid artworks you can get. in general. So that's already kind of a good thing to kind of point out. And obviously, when it comes to specific Pokemon, you kind of look at, like I suggested, the fan favorites. They're always going to be there. Birds, legendary, Zapdos, Articuno, Moltres, stunning. And what you find as well is some sets do kind of pop off themselves. Tag Team is a massive one at the moment, but that's because as well, you can get multiple. You look at the Latias Latius. Of course, if that card was coming in anywhere close to a reasonable price, you know you are buying that absolutely left, right, and center. Like if I go GX and go price charting, I wonder if it's going to show me the whole listing of this, because in general, if you kind of saw this further back, if we go all the way back now, so you can kind of see it ungraded. So it came out here, come out at 266. To be honest, again, if you were, I'd say an investor into the hobby, but if you kind of were in that whole point of, you know that at some point this could bang, you are absolutely right that this card is stunning. It's an absolute beauty of a card. And if you did manage literally for this entire year being able to stockpile these at 220, you just reaping that benefit. Like you have literally 10x your money in 2 years like that. Now, I'm not saying that everybody's going to go out and buy 15, 20 of these. Of course not. Like that's absolutely absurd. But buying one is always good. But like I say, Tag Team at the moment is absolutely massive. It is ripe with profits left, right, and center. And you've always got to ask yourself, when do you ever kind of block out of this? Do you ever? Is this a collection or is it an investment? Because an investment, you probably want to tap out on a lot of high-end things during a massive hype period. And it's why a lot of kind of investors normally go for the sealed product, because naturally you're always going to get a pretty good winner in sealed. Naturally, it does tend to always go up in value. Not every single time, and it might not even be, because I think that's the big thing that I always have a problem with is, yes, things always go up in value. But the problem is that's what you say. It always goes up, but no one says by how much. Does it, like a lot of people suggest, 2x, 3x, 4x, or does it just go up £10? Does it go up a fiver? You've held something for 3 years and it's gone up 10 quid. Now, obviously, when you look at tag team tins and stuff, granted, yeah, of course they're not going to go up by like 10 quid. They're going to go up a considerable amount. But that's a kind of a bigger hole. But if I'm looking at a pinned collection box, if I hold it a year, is it going to go up just a fiver? Or do I have to hold it the 5, 6, 10 years? And that's where we reap the benefit. That's where you've got to get good at reading the market, knowing when the hype period's potentially coming to an end. Are people selling up more? That's where you've kind of then got to either double down and invest more, or then you can move on. Like we said, Gengar is going to be another one that is absolutely fantastic, and it is just picking the popular Pokemon. If you've got no affiliation to any of these Pokemon, then obviously going for the favorites are always going to be there. Vintage is great for the nostalgic vibe. Obviously, Gengar is going to be a fantastic for that one. 151 in general is going to have some absolute beauties. And naturally, you can kind of pick the Gyarados. You've obviously got the Shining variants. Kabutops as in a fossil collection is going to be a nice one. Now, obviously, you kind of want to go for the absolute guarantees. You look at your Charizard, like I said, all of the starters, pretty much Typhlosion, Meganium, like they're all going to have different levels. Like naturally, you'll find that Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Charmander are going to be the fan favorites there. But once you go up, you're hitting a different nostalgic vibe. I personally really like the Cyndaquil, the Chikorita, the obvious Mudkip. You can't, it's not even Mudkip. Ignore me, it's Totodile. That would kill me. Obviously, you've got them, and they're going to be my first two generations that I really enjoyed. They were kind of childhood for me. After that, we kind of got to your Mudkips and all of them, and I know a few of them. Trico, Torchic, they're decent enough, but after that, like Gen 5, 4 to some extent, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, I don't have the affiliation with them. I'm still way back in Gen 1 too. Now, people growing up in different eras are going to have different affiliations. They might not like Charizard as much as myself, whereas I grew up with it being made, let alone the kind of continuation of this. So that's going to be where you can find different collections for everything. You can find someone like Mystic loves Sudowoodo. It's a great collection. It might not have the most profiteering from it, but it most definitely has got some profits. You obviously then have the pseudo-legendaries. Another fantastic one going into this, because legendaries are easy. It's Dragonite. Dragonite's got some wonderful cards, even in just a standard, the light Dragonite, the Dragonite from Expedition, Fossil, Rocket. Obviously, you've got some tournament ones. You then have Delta species. You have the deck exclusives that you can get from him because he's got multiple products you can get him from. Pseudo legendaries, the Metagrosses, the Dragonites, the Dragapults, and all of them. Salamence is going to be absolutely massive. And I think another one that you could obviously put in a big kind of bubble is Legendaries Mythicals. Ultra Beast to some extent, but I wouldn't say they're on that same level. If I go look at the very kind of like start and look at a Mewtwo or a Mew, they are always going to be up there. Mew in just Delta species, Bubble Mew, Shining Mewtwo, Mewtwo from Expedition. There's so many top end vintage. And then as we do go forward, like I suggest with the tag team version, you know full well in a fair amount of years, that card's going to be outstanding as well. We obviously have got the Bubble Mew, which is more recent to anything. You then also have the Rockets, the Destined Rivals Mew, Mewtwo in fact, which again is another hard hitting absolute chase grail cards. So there is absolutely loads that you can go with them. If then you're going to throw yourselves a little bit down the pond, you look at something like a Rayquaza, another fantastic one. Lugia is an obvious. Ho-Oh is an obvious as well. The Free Dogs. There's so many legendaries that you can go with. Obviously, they're going to be one of the best. They are the strongest Pokemon. Now, obviously, you could even go for more of a certain set. You could go with a specific type. Illustrations are always going to be a fan favorite. Now, obviously, we are not years upon years away from your Evolving Skies, your Paldean Fates, your Temporal Forces. So we don't know in 5 years' time, where does all of the illustrations go? Because that's another one. When you look at something like I say, Temporal Forces, it's not necessarily the Pokemon to some extent. You've got the combination cards, the Swazbook, the Ghastly is a great one, Litten is a beautiful artwork, and that's where you throw in, where does this go in 5 years' time? Because it's mass produced, it's very affordable right now, it's easy to somehow get your hands on it, but we've not seen this in 5 years yet. We've not seen it in 3 years yet, because obviously we started with these kind of illustration rares during the Sword and Shield. So obviously these are going to be untapped territory of, are these almost like your normal mega cards? These are not necessarily the full arts, they're hard ones to get. These are just the standards that will go up a little bit, but they won't go up masses. Obviously, if we do look, for instance, at Temporal Forces, you've obviously got a relatively affordable set right now. I would love to see in a year's time, then 2 years' time, 3 years' time, where does this go? So definitely keeping an eye on all of these is going to be another fantastic one. It's why I do suggest, if you are collecting, try collecting one of each. I mean, you can win some, you can lose some. Normally what you find is very little chance do you lose money on a collection like this, especially if it is a complete collection. So working your way through some of the cheaper sets, the Stellar Crowns, the Temporals, then obviously going into, what would be another one? I mean, Journey Together is relatively cheap at this point as well. So going into them and kind of going, Paradox Rift is another one. You can collect the full set, and that's another collection. Instead of going for a specific Pokemon, you go for the whole set. Being able to sell a master set, a standard set, is going to be better than somebody who's getting into it and thinks, well, instead of me going out and buying the Groudon, the Roaring Moon, the Altaria, if I buy it all at once, I might be able to get it cheaper. That might be the case, but you might have been able to get it cheaper by sourcing some deals, getting them when they're a little bit cheaper. It could be that the Groudon at the moment is 67. You could have managed to pick him up at 60 and now he's 80, now he's 90. But you're still making that profit on it as well, if that is the end game also. So in terms of kind of the ways that you can almost guarantee success in this hobby, if you are solely interested in money, specific Pokemon that are fan favorites are always going to be a great one. A great example of this, and it's my number one, I will absolutely always be saying it, is the Articuno from Journey Together. It is stunning. And honestly, you look at any of the birds, you look at all of these birds in general, they are all incredibly priced, some of them vintage, some of them not. They're all very much in the absolute top echelons of an Articuno. I think this is possibly one of my favourite Articuno cards you could physically get. And it is coming in, I think, at a minute around about £12-15, and it's still dropping. This card is an absolute stunner. There is no way in 5 years' time that that is £10, £15. It just can't be. Out of print run, that is a stunning card. So that is just one kind of example that you can take from modern stuff and kind of flip it like that. So that in graded in general as well is going to be a lovely, lovely card. So definitely having a look at kind of fun fan arts is always going to be another brilliant way. So Pokemon complete sets, Pokemon with sealed products, if you're going for a Birds sealed collection, a Lugia sealed collection, obviously you have the normals, the legendaries, the mythicals, the standard cover art Pokemon, the starters, and then just some little bits of fan favorites. There might be a cult following around Primeape, around Annihilate, Ash's Pokemon, Red's Pokemon, Team Rocket's Pokemon. There's a great deal around them, so definitely keeping an eye on all of them, and then just in general having a look at the market and just seeing what you think an illustration would actually be worth. Like that one for me is a fan favorite. Lots of them in Journey Together at the moment I think are incredible pieces of art. Now, even if you take away the SARs in this and just look at the illustrations, I love the Whale Lord. The Whale Lord is a great artwork. Kilowattrel is a more cartoony artwork. It's brilliant. Then the Lycanroc, the Wooloo, some absolute stunning pieces of artwork there that you could throw in, and maybe, just maybe, in a fair few years, they are a little bit harder to get and a little bit more in price. Let me know how you get on with your collection. Make sure you like and subscribe on this video, and I'll catch you all for the next one. Peace.